No AI was used in the creation of the following. Hi, I'm ESP of espdigiart.com.
Shiny object syndrome, often referred to, overlapping, or actually, I would say even being mistaken for flakiness. I don't know if technically they are the same thing, but I can tell you what I think the difference is. The person with shiny object syndrome might be working on something. Now they see a shiny object, sometimes that's in the form of an idea or a new inspiration. It can come in the form, for people in other fields, of maybe a new activity, whatever the case is. And suddenly there is a need to hunt down that shiny object, draw a picture of it, hang it on the wall all before lunch, or maybe dinner? I don't know what time of day it is when you're listening to this, so but you get the idea. It is something like that. And if it's not draw a picture, maybe it's do something else with it. Write a paper or a book or whatever about that thing. And the problem with shiny object syndrome, you keep seeing shiny objects. If you're hardwired to receive inspiration or to see inspiration everywhere, you're going to keep seeing those shiny objects. The way I think of flakiness, on the other hand, is someone who, even if they're working on something, they just drop the ball. And it's not because they saw the shiny object, they just don't stick with things. Unfortunately, shiny object syndrome, you might say, could produce a form of flakiness in which you can't stick with things. Well, so why talk about this? This is a problem I've faced as an artist on repeated occasion. I deal with all this inspiration coming in. It's all wonderful ideas, and I can't pursue it all at once. In fact, that's a fun saying that I was told about once. You can do it all, you just can't do it all at once. And that's, of course, a problem a lot of women face. They feel like they're expected to do it all and do it all at once. And it's a really sad state of affairs. But as an artist, you feel this, whether you're male or female, a little bit differently, because it's in the form of, hey, I want to create in this and that and this other 20 things. One place I've also seen shiny object syndrome come from is trauma. At one point, I went through this myself. I don't want to go quite into what happened, but in that situation, people were very strongly pressuring me to do some things I could not do, and I was looking for ideas all the time to figure out a way to make everything work and not have massive problems and not be in over my head. And in short, it resulted in shiny object syndrome, because I spent several years doing that, and I had a lot of pressure applied. And so I actually had to hear it from someone else who has like a 6-figure art business, and I'm glad I listened to that person, because they said, if you are running after every little shiny object, this is not their exact words, but it amounted to, you are just not going to be able to give focus to the 3 or 4 things that you can do well. And those, and I think he really meant more like 1 or 2, but let's say it's 3 or 4. It's those few things you can do well. And because the quality of what you can do well is diminished, it's just not going to result in what you're looking to have it result in. It actually will take you away from getting a good result. Now, this is the complete opposite of what I'd been hearing, and it was kind of a shock, and I felt like something physically came off me when I heard this, because, like I said, that this was this other experience being so contradicted. It was not something I was prepared for. After hearing that advice, I was finally able to have a little bit of peace about, like I said, not running after every little shiny object, having to draw a picture of it and hang it on the wall all before lunch or whatever the next meal is. So something that might shock a lot of people is this. I did not find this impacted the actual drawings I'm doing very massively. It was probably a very minute change at most in the actual artwork, but one place where I saw this happen for me was a lot more at the back end of things. So once the art is created, what do I do with it? One thing I do with it is print on demand. So I use Cafe Press for a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of really great experiences with them, not only as an artist, but also as a customer. So of course, I'm all too thrilled to be able to use a company that I've had good experiences with as a customer to put my artwork on. And that was but one idea. So I've done kids' books, I've done coloring books. I want to be able to take my artwork and get it printed on fabric. I would like to be able to at some point do something with 3D printing. At the moment, I don't even have the resources to begin to guess where to start with the 3D printing idea. I hope that changes someday, but with every one of these things, there's a process attached. In some cases, it's a learning curve. It's learning something you've never done before, like 3D printing. I've actually done like one class with that, and I don't know enough to run with it. I would have to learn a lot more. In the case of something where I'm doing a print on demand, if I'm setting up with some place I have not worked with before, I have to check the licensing agreements, I have to check a lot of other stuff, all the terms of use. And then all of this is on top of the actual creation of whatever the product is. So for example, when I did Cafe Press, I had to put my design on different items. That was its own process, and I repeat that process routinely, that part of that process, and that's actually very fun. But as fun as it is, if I get distracted by too many shiny little ideas, I don't have the capacity to follow through on anything. And this is true with everybody. I don't care what field you're in, I don't care what walk of life you're in. If you are getting distracted by shiny objects, or shiny ideas more precisely in this instance, it's just that, it is distracting. Now, those shiny ideas are pretty. You want to pick them up and do something with them for a reason. So a trick a friend taught me, and then I've seen a lot of people recommend this as well. This is not something that comes naturally to me, and for my art itself, it actually is not helpful for me personally. Other artists might find it very helpful. I know at least one other that is doing something like this already with their art. And it's to get things anchored outside your skull on either paper or digital files or whatever form you need them to take, and just enough that you can circle back to them at a more convenient moment. And so when I see ideas, like I said, for me this has played out primarily in the monetization of the art. The how do I monetize my art, what would I like to do with that, is going ahead and writing stuff like that down. Or there are projects where maybe I would like to go do them at some point later. Because I couldn't have chased all these shiny objects down anyway, no matter what I had done, going ahead and just saying, okay, I see the shiny object, I'm going to take note of where it lives, where it is, I'm going to just write out those coordinates on that map, and I'm going to go ahead and say, I will circle back to this. It has given me a lot of peace about not pursuing them right away. And it has also helped me to come back and pursue these ideas later. In fact, this was one of those very ideas. And I probably would have just completely dropped the ball and let it fall through the cracks if I had not taken that advice, because I couldn't have pursued it when I originally had the idea. I just did not have the bandwidth. So for any of you wondering if that idea works, you're listening to proof that it can right now. If you'd like to help keep an artist from starving, and or you just simply like what you hear, please subscribe, and I will see you next video.